Welcome back to Emirates 24/7. On this evening's show, we found out why SMEs drive our economy, making up around 1/3 of the money made here.
And now the government has pledged 22 million dirhams for a local IT fund designed to support small startups. Simply put, companies or people who have a powerful idea will now get the funding to develop it.
Priyanka Dutt spoke to the CEO of the ICT Fund, Dr. Isa Bestaki, to understand more about the project, the first of its kind in the Middle East. And she asked him what the fund aims to do and how it will change the UAE.
When you look at the country as UAE, we are an information-based economy. So we have already built all the infrastructure ready to become a knowledge-based economy or knowledge-based society. We are not. So when we look at the industry as a whole, till now we don't have the ICT industry in the country in terms of creating the industry. So what I'm trying to say here is that we need to first educate people in all senses to use those talents so that they could be a part of that ecosystem, and then later on we'll have our own companies, so startups. So we'll fund startups. These startups will be the beginning of the ICT industry in the country.
Traditionally, the UAE has not focused much on R&D. Why is that, and do you see that changing now?
Well, actually, on the contrary, UAE has done a lot in research and development, and even we are the second in the Arab world. So that's not the case. I think the problem with R&D here is that these research results, when they come out, nobody actually benefits from this research. The reason is there's no real collaboration between academia and industry. And what I want to say is that now we need to focus more on R&Ds that actually are helping the industry to become more innovative. So to do that, industry will automatically deal with the academia in terms of research. So we want to make sure that the R&D is mainly applied and mainly produces IPs, produces products, and produces intellectuals that will make sure that this country will be a knowledge-based society.
It's interesting you mention intellectual property, because that brings me to my next question. What about IPRs and patents?
Well, I know the ones who are in charge of IP is Ministry of Economy. They are the ones that actually register IP and licenses for the IP, and there's the place where they go. And of course, plus there is also Ministry of Justice that take care of the legal issues of these kind of IPs. I think these are the two government sectors that actually deal with IP and IP protection, IP registration.
Now, this is something that is just beginning. Let's fast forward to the future. Where do you see the ICT Fund? How is it going to contribute to the development of the UAE as a knowledge-based economy in the next couple of years?
ICT sector in general is the hot area and hot topic in the whole world. Everybody is talking about ICT because ICT is the future. One day it will come that a person will be full of gadgets, electronic gadgets everywhere. So, and I'm not talking about one or two or three, hundreds of gadgets in the body, that things will be talking from machines to machines. And there's a big budget in the United States for this kind of ICT, $7 billion 2 years ago, and I don't know last year how much, but they're spending a lot on ICT because this is the future. Every person, every entity, every sector will deal with ICT in all senses in terms of hardware and software. So if you don't start working on ICT research and development and all these, we are going to be much behind. I think we have to have that goal to have 30 to 50% of GDP coming from ICT. So we're expecting in 5 years to produce our own ICT products, software or hardware, tangible or non-tangible, and I expect us in 10 years it will really affect the GDP of the country.
Thank you very much.